Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of WyseUp with Chelsie Wyse, the podcast where we cut through the noise, get real about marketing, and I bring you clarity, confidence, and a whole lot of intentionality. Today, we are wrapping up our 4-part mini-series on marketing clarity, and I believe this is the most important step, and it is clarity in action. But I want you to listen really carefully to this one because clarity is really powerful, but only if you use it. So the problem that clients will come to me, they've got this great strategy, we work together, and then crickets, nothing happens. Why? Why do we work so hard on making the thing without actually doing the thing? This is where I think a lot of marketing gets a bad rap because so much work is put into a strategy or creating of the things, but then there's no delivery. And this is where my business coaching, my psychology interests, a lot of therapy interests come into play, because this is where I work with my clients on understanding the why behind the lack of producing, the lack of hitting publish, the lack of hitting go. But you're not alone. If you do this out there, you get this beautiful thing, and you don't actually execute on it, you are not alone. According to a recent co-schedule report, 65% of marketers say that they don't have enough time or capacity to fully execute a strategy. Another staggering statistic, 65% don't execute on the strategy that they work on. This comes down to a systems issue, but deeper than that, it's a clarity issue. Because if you don't know what your next step is, or you don't have the support to follow through, even the best laid plans are going to get lost and not get executed on. Going even deeper than that, if there's something that we have yet to uncover about your thoughts around the execution of the strategy, that's something that really needs to be dealt with as well. I had this happen a lot when I was starting my business. I would make these great things. I would put together the strategy. Okay, I'm going to put this email in this order and post this on social and do this. And then I wouldn't actually do it. I'd even talk about it with people. Oh, I'm doing this thing. Early stages in this WyseUp podcast even. Hey, I'm doing this podcast. I'm going to help people on how to grow their business or how to be very intentional about their marketing strategy. Like, I could see it. I could taste it, this plan, but I didn't actually go through the actual publishing of these things for a really long time. And why? I had to do some of that coaching work. I actually hired a coach to help me uncover a lot of those hidden barriers that were keeping me from executing on the things that I knew were going to help me grow my business, that were going to take it to the next level. That work was so transformative to do with the coach, learn the things, start doing it on my own. And now at Tact, I work with clients to help bridge that gap between the knowing and the doing, helping them uncover a lot of those hidden barriers. We create systems that make execution feel doable and the momentum feel natural. No more dancing on TikTok, no more dancing on Instagram if it doesn't align with where your business is going or what you can see and feel. This is where I get a little emotive in the business side of things, because I do think, especially if you're a business owner, especially if you're in charge of growing it, you got to tap into your gut, because your gut does not lie. It's a really cool thing to pay attention to. And when you get in tune with it, it will not steer you wrong. I have 10 years of owning a business to prove that myself. So when I work with my clients, this is what we create together: a realistic 90-day plan to either get your business started, to get it realigned, to be more intentional about where it's headed next. We have weekly accountability check-ins from a half hour, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. You pick the duration. I check in with you weekly to see how it's going. You've got to have skin in this game too. This is your business, but I'm here to guide you. I am a trusted partner who cares so much about your business and your organization too. Oh, I cannot stress that enough. I want you to succeed. I want you to feel it. I want you to be like, dang, that was so cool. So that's with the weekly accountability check-ins. We work on clear delegation of team roles, making sure we understand who is responsible for what and when it needs to get done. And then we develop systems to track and measure results, things that are curated to you and what growth means to you. And it does not have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. There's stat after stat that show that consistency is the thing that yields results over and over again, not big, grandiose campaigns. But on top of being consistent, clarity needs to be there too, because you could also be putting out a bunch of content that is misaligned. It says one thing over here, and then it says another, and then it says another, and that's not going to yield any results either. So we need to be really clear about that, and that takes practice. So here's what clarity in action can look like. Client comes to me, they feel overwhelmed. They've got this long list of to-dos. They've got half-built funnels from when they were feeling super inspired and then got burnt out because they had to focus on other things in the business. They have abandoned email drafts to potential clients or potential customers, and they have a social media content calendar that they went to a workshop and they're like, oh, this is going to be the thing that saves me. This is going to be the thing that we work on together that I get done. This is going to be the thing that finally gets me on track. But then that doesn't get touched in months. So when I get together with this individual, we strip it down to the essentials. We map out one clear campaign for that quarter, clarify the offer, define the timeline, and set up a rhythm of weekly tasks to keep the wheels turning. And then we just do that for the 3 months and we see how it's going. What is it yielding? How is that energy showing up in person in their conversations? Let me tell you, just as important as it is to be super clear online, it's also so important to be clear in person. You can feel it too when you're at a networking event and you've got it locked in and somebody asks you, hi, what's your name? What do you do? And you can say that 90-second elevator pitch and it's so clear cut and it encourages follow-up questions from them. That is a magical thing. And then they look you up later online and they see the same verbiage and everything just makes sense. That's when a phone call happens. That's when a follow-up email happens. It's awesome. So we do that for a few months and then we check in a month later during that 90-day period. Content's going out consistently. Emails are converting. Team feels aligned. You feel aligned. Everything's working. We now can feel it in our brain open up and think about what happens in 6 months. What do we even want to do in 9 months? Okay, so I want you to try this part. Here are 3 ways that you can keep clarity in motion. I want you to block off time each week for marketing execution. I do this on my calendar too. Mondays and Fridays, I'm recording these podcasts. I'm creating social media content. I'm talking to my team about tact. It's all tact stuff. And I've got a 2-hour block on Mondays and Fridays to do this. I do not schedule things during that time because you have to remember that your organization, your business is just as important as the people that you serve. And you can't serve them if you're not organized. I want you to protect this time block like it is a client meeting. And then I want you to use a tool like ClickUp, Asana, Notion, Basecamp, if that's still even a thing, Trello, whatever project management system makes sense in your brain to keep your plan visible and that you can see what progress is being made. Spoiler alert, they are all very similar platforms. So I got to stress, please use what makes sense for your brain. And then you need to schedule a monthly check-in with either yourself, where you're just looking at the data, or with your team, where you can evaluate what's working and where you need to pivot. And if you want to put your strategy into action, I offer fractional marketing support for businesses and organizations that need a strategic partner to stay aligned, focused, and adaptable. You can sign up for a free 30-minute consultation at get-intact.com. That is free, and I want you to take advantage of that to make sure that we're a good fit, to make sure that we like each other before we start getting into the nitty-gritty of your business or organization, because that is critical to success. Okay, folks, that wraps up the 4-part mini-series of clarity in marketing. I hope that you found these tips super informative. If you haven't listened to the other 3 episodes, I encourage you to go back through on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're here on YouTube watching me on this podcast, going back through and viewing the other videos. I've extracted quick clips for you to take advantage of. Those are going out on social. You can send those to people that you think would find value in that. I also encourage you to forward any newsletters if you're not subscribed. If you're finding me on these social platforms or these podcast platforms and you want to be a tact subscriber, you can do that by also visiting get-intact.com. I offer bi-monthly newsletters of what we're working on, free advice and tips on how to level up your marketing. And you've got front row access to me to ask me any questions and see how I might be able to help. And before I let you go, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review on YouTube, any of the podcast platforms, and share it with somebody who needs it. So until next time, work smarter, not harder.